My name is Josh Jenkins. This is my FTE 211. This is my week 7 assignment. Today is April 24th, 2024. Alrighty, we have made it to week 7. All right, so what we're gonna do before we get started, last 6 weeks, no different. We're gonna clear this weapon to make sure it's safe to work on. So the first thing we're gonna do, point in the safe direction. We're going to drop the magazine, show that there is no ammo in there, set that down. We're then going to rack the slide back, lock it in place, show that there is no ammo in here. We're going to do a visual and physical inspection of the weapon to make sure there's no ammo in the chamber. Pull it down, point in the safe direction, drop the hammer. This weapon has been cleared and is ready to be worked on. Okay, for part 2 of week 7, what we've been asked to do is to deburr the trigger track and smooth the sides of the trigger bone. So what we have, where is my track stone? So I'm gonna take my track stone, which is right here. We've got this disassembled. And we're gonna go in here and we're just going to deburr all this down the track stone, the bow and all that. We're just gonna polish up as best we can and we'll go from there. It also should be noted that this is pretty smooth anyway, but you know, we'll for the sake of the class, we're gonna just do it just to show. Smooth as it was last week, but we'll just give it a little bit more, just again, just a little bit more, just to make it as buttery smooth as we can. All right, so part 2 is done. What we're gonna do next is we're gonna do a functions check, and we'll go from there. All right, for part 3, there's 2 asks in this portion of it, and that is to do a functions test, do a dry functions test, and then do a functions test with snap caps. So what we're gonna do is we're going to do the dry functions check first, which that all, again, as the name would imply, no magazine, no dummy rounds, no nothing. So what we're going to do is we're going to point in a safe direction and we're going to slide the rack back. And now we are going to do a functions check. So we're going to, without having my hand on the grip safety and the safety is off, we're going to pull the trigger. Nothing happens as it should. We're going to put our hand on the grip safety, point in a safe direction. It should fire once we pull the trigger. That's perfect. Now, we're going to repeat that test, but we're going to put the safety on. Safety is on. Point in a safe direction. We're going to pull the trigger. Nothing happens. We're going to grab the grip safety and pull the trigger. Nothing happens. So that's working as it should be after we put it back together. We're going to put the trigger off, point in a safe direction. It should fire. All right. That was the dry fire portion of this. For the next test, the request is to do a functions check with rounds and do the cycle of operation. So, like last time, I'm going to take our snap caps, put it in to our magazine. We're going to rack the slide back. We're going to feed, chamber, and lock into place this snap cap round. And like last time, we're going to start with the unsafety version first. So we're going to point in a safe direction. We're going to pull the trigger, which is going to simulate firing. And then we're going to simulate unlocking, ejecting, and resetting of the trigger, of the hammer, or the trigger, yep. Round goes off. It feed chambers and loads the next one. We're listening for the trigger reset. This weapon is, and then we're going to pull the trigger again. Same. Trigger reset. And then we're going to fire. And because that was our last round, it held open. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop the magazine. We're going to pull the slide forward, point in a safe direction. And now we're going to redo that test with the safety on. So let me get reset real quick. All right, so you see we have snap caps in here, so we're gonna put it into our chamber. We're going to rack the slide back, feed chamber, and lock into place. But this time, we're gonna put the safety on. We're gonna pull the trigger. Nothing happens. Take our grip safety, pull that, pull the trigger. Nothing happens as it's supposed to. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop it off safety, do that, and we're going to simulate it firing. reset, and fire, and back. And because it's last round, opens close. This has been a function check of both a dummy or a dry fire and a snap cap function check. 4 here. So part 4 talks about some alterations that I would consider, you know, in this weapon. So while I've got it apart, it's actually pretty interesting what I would do. So pull that trigger out real quick. First thing I would change would be a trigger. I'd use something like a Wilson Combat. I'll put that picture up here, kind of what I want. I use a Wilson Combat trigger because it's manufactured for that kind of thing. So I'd want one of those. I'd probably want to make some changes to the grips as well. These are nice Turkish wood. This is Tesis's version. These are Turkish wood. These are very nice and very pleasant. I like them a lot. I would like to change them though. I would like maybe some pearl or some, you know, something polymer that's got a little better grip. Third thing I would change would be the boat tail. You know, I want something a little more swoopy back here, right? So that's what I would want to do, is, you know, something that's a little more in tune, so the trigger, it fit better with the trigger as well. And the last thing I'd want to do is change the safety. So this is just a right-handed safety. I'd like to change it to an ambi safety. This one doesn't have the place for it specifically on that side, but I think I can find me an ambi safety that would go for both sides. That way, you know, I could, you know, me or my brother-in-law, who is left-handed, could shoot that as well. All right, now that we've got this weapon put back together, what we're going to do is we're going to do a functions check and a cycle of operations to make sure that we did it right. So first thing we're going to do, again, point in a safe direction, use some snap caps like always. Going to load this up, point in a safe direction. What we're going to do is we're going to pull the slide back. We're going to feed, chamber, and load around into said chamber. Pull it forward. And again, point in a safe direction. We're going to drop the hammer. That's going to simulate firing. Keeping our finger on the trigger, we're going to pull the slide back. That's going to eject the round. It's going to feed and chamber the next round. With our finger still on, we're listening for the trigger to reset. Trigger's reset, then we're going to fire. We're going to do that a couple more times. As you can see, the slide is locked open because there's no more ammo. Drop that down, pull the slide forward, point in the safe direction, fire. This weapon has been reassembled correctly, and there we go.